Okay, there we go. Tonight we've got David McGill on with us, and David is the emergency management director here in Harlan County. And David and I have done several disaster prep stuff over the years, and he's done several things for me. We've worked on some things together, and just definitely, that's something that he has at heart, is disaster prep. And I'm not going to go into a lot of things. I'm going to let him cover it. But at the end, we've actually have a poll that we have added to our session tonight. So we hope that you'll participate in the poll. But without further ado, I'm going to let David go ahead and share his screen, and I'm going to turn it over to David McGill.
Thank you all. Thank you all for having me tonight. I'm excited about doing this. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll go ahead and get started. As Jeremy said, I'm David McGill with Harlan County Emergency Management. I've had this position for roughly 13 years. Prior to this, I was an emergency medical technician here in the county. I've been an EMT for 22 years, and then I've also have experience as a firefighter volunteer. I was a firefighter for 20 some years, and then I was also fire chief at the city of Everett's for 11 years. So what is an emergency or disaster? It's an unplanned event that can cause death or significant injuries to anybody in your home, your business, wherever. These things may include, but are not limited to, flooding, tornadoes, blizzards, ice storms, hail, drought, landslides, all things that if you are in southeast Kentucky or southeastern part of the United States, more than likely you are going to encounter or have encountered. Many of these things we have went through within the last recent years. Some of these things we're going through right now. Being prepared only safeguards you and your family. It lessens the risk of significant injury or death for your family. A few common disasters. These are all pictures of stuff that has happened in Harlan County. Flooding, hazmat, which I'm a part of the hazmat team here in Harlan County as well. I'm a hazmat technician. Power outages, fires, water rescues, search and rescues, that kind of thing. So what is emergency management? It's the process of preparing, mitigating, responding to, or recovering from an emergency. So basically, we are planners, organizers, evaluators, and trainers. We try to help in the event of an emergency or disaster. So preparing is the key to emergency management. We prepare on a daily basis with meeting with different stakeholders throughout, whether it is a private partner or it is another government agency or a quasi-government. We all try to work together, fire departments, rescue squads, police departments, Red Cross. It's the list is endless, and that's the way it should be, because if we put ourselves into a box, we're really hurting ourselves. So with emergency management, you really have to spread out, and who can you make contacts with to make things better for your community. That's what this is all about, is making your community better prepared and safer. Preparedness, like I said, this is the base of everything that emergency management is about. As you see in the triangle, it's at the bottom. It's what we build everything around. A continuous cycle of planning, managing, and organizing, training, equipping, exercising, creating, monitoring, evaluating, and improving activities to ensure the effective coordination, enhancement of capabilities. So we're going to do this with, again, schools, daycares, the fire departments, police departments, hospitals, the health department, just about any kind of agency that you can think of, we have touched base with, and we try to plan and prepare daily. We want to make sure that our citizens are well prepared, because in today's society, people just don't want to volunteer. There's not enough emergency responders, whether it is volunteer or actually even paid. EMS, our EMS agency is short. That's not a countywide problem. That's a nationwide problem. So there's just not enough EMTs and paramedics. So the better off that you are prepared, even with something just as simple as first aid and CPR, better safeguards you and your family. We plan. We plan on a daily basis, just like you're planning for an outing with your family. We plan for disasters within the county. We want to make sure that everybody is as safe as possible if something goes out. Do you plan? Do you plan to go on a trip, your vacation? How far out do you plan? Do you plan for different things? What about for when your electricity goes out, or that you might have that fire? And that's something we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Planning is key. We must plan for these different events, and never think that something's not going to happen in your area. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it won't. A lot of these things are happening all around us. Some of us are more blessed than others not to have things that's happened in our area. But even if you are planning for a fire or severe storms, a lot of those things can translate into preparedness for a tornado or an earthquake. A lot of those things overlap, which makes you better prepared. Our agency encourages meetings with local businesses, government, schools, daycares, and even families, as I've already talked about, for the need to prepare for possible emergencies and disasters. This is something that we are very active in during the off season of school. We meet with many of the school districts and different schools to help them plan for the upcoming year. We talk about things that may happen, talk about their plans. We also do this with many local businesses. Some things that we do is public service announcements and safety tips. We'll go out and have talks at our senior citizen centers. We do this at schools, church organizations. We also have this up on our Facebook page that we maintain regularly, trying just to keep people aware and up to date. We also do weather updates and trainings such as weather spotters class. We usually hold a weather spotters class once a year. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year due to COVID. Planning tips. If you are trying to prepare and plan for some type of disaster, we can help give you some tips. And then also we give tips for when you're going to be away from your home. Local news, we also try to share that, such as road closings or power outages. We try to update the page. That way people can help plan accordingly if somebody might be on oxygen or something to that nature that needs those power sources. That way they can kind of plan on how long they may need to be with have extra oxygen, or their power is going to be out. That's another place that we work with is our home care stores, to make sure that we have open communications. In the event of a power outage, your home care store should bring you oxygen in the event that you are running out or running low. That's one of their jobs. A lot of people don't know that. but that's something that you can do, is actually call your home care store and they will come out and bring you more oxygen if that would need be. Our daily activities, and this is going to be a little bit different from area to area, county to county, even here in Kentucky. And this is just some of them. Typically include, but not limited to, ensuring emergency services are ready to protect our community and county. Ensure that emergency operations plan is up to date and current. Respond to various incidents ranging from fires, rescues, hazmat incidents, or other emergencies where agencies may need assistance. And then I'm also the 911 director as well. So we handle addressing issues, mapping, GIS, and that kind of thing. We work on grants with the fire departments. I'm also working on hazard mitigation, and that basically what hazard mitigation is we're trying to prevent something from happening either before it happens or happening again. Two grants that I'm working on is a landslide grant to property acquisition with that, and then the other one is another property acquisition because of flooding. We've had repeated flooding in the area, and so I'm trying to work on a grant for that one so we can buy that property. And it's a life safety issue, plus it's a repetitive loss issue, and so that way it saves money in the long run as well. So as I said, we work with many different agencies, and working together is the key. When we work together, we are able to get these things done in a very timely, safe manner. Work with rescue squads, fire departments, police departments, health departments, schools, Red Cross, military, animal control. The list is endless of people we work with, and I'm very proud of that. That's something that emergency managers need to do, emergency management in general needs to do, is we need to reach out and work with everybody, our churches, different civic organizations, like I said, private partnerships. All these things are very important when it comes to restoring and recovering in the event of a disaster. That's one of the biggest challenges I feel like that I face in emergency management is the recovery aspect, because there's a lot of times there's hoops that you got to jump through with the state and federal government, and it's not always easy. There's people have lost their homes. Something that we faced here in Harlan County last year was we had several homes that was destroyed, and with FEMA, there is something called public assistance and then individual assistance. Public assistance is for government agencies, infrastructure. Individual assistance is what is for the public, the individual, if they've lost homes or something to that nature. So we had a lot of homes that was destroyed, but unfortunately we did not reach the threshold that we needed to meet to get assistance. And that's very frustrating because you have many people that, has lost their jobs, unfortunately, in our area right now. A lot of people that was needing help, and we was not able to get them FEMA assistance. So that's where you have to back up and punt a lot of times and say, okay, who else can we get involved to help? And that a lot of times involves those private partner relationships, getting the Baptist Association to come in and help. Team Rubicon comes in and helps. Those are some partnerships that we made with this last event that they was able to come in and help a lot of folks. And the other part of the triangle is respond. Response includes mobilization of necessary emergency services and first responders. This is driven by the type and kind of emergency and is likely to include the first wave of core emergency services such as firefighters, police, and ambulance crews. They may be supported by secondary emergency services like Red Cross, just a host of other services that may come out and help. And this doesn't only include our county. A lot of times we reach out to other counties for assistance, and they reach out to us for assistance as well. We have all of us have been affected at some point in time by some type of disaster. And a disaster doesn't have to be a huge event. If something has happened to you at your home, that may be a disaster to you. Something I tell young people that's coming into EMS and the fire service as well, is that just because it's not a disaster to you or an emergency to you doesn't mean that it's not a disaster or an emergency to someone else. And we need to remember that. Something that's insignificant to me might be significant to somebody else, and that's always something we need to remember. So some important terms that we need to be familiar with. A thunderstorm, tornado, or flood watch is where there's a possibility these events might happen. This is the time we need to plan ahead. We need to be listening to our NOAA weather radio, our news station, whatever source of media or whatever that you may want to tune into that you choose is right for you. Something that I always tell everybody is no matter what you're doing, have 3 forms of that. And this is no different. Have 3 forms of notification. TV, your NOAA weather radio, and then maybe your cell phone. You know, there's different apps that you can get, a lot of good apps that you can put on your phone. But don't forget, things can fail. Multiple things can fail. So always have a backup, something that is there in case something else happens. If you have a NOAA radio, your electricity may go out. Make sure you have batteries in your NOAA weather radio for backup power. This is two things that people get confused a lot with. And part of that, I think, is when we have a watch, we have a lot of watches, and people get complacent with that. And they think, well, it's just a watch, nothing's going to happen, go on about their daily lives. They really don't take into consideration that something bad may happen down the road. This is the time we need to plan. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Does my family and myself know what we need to do in the event of this emergency? If we have a warning of a thunderstorm, tornado, or a flood, this is the time that you act now. You put your plan into place and start your action. It's time to take shelter immediately. There's no time to plan during a warning. A warning is the event is occurring. It's imminent right then. And oftentimes I've seen this time and time again with tornadoes and floods is people will start calling, wanting to know what they need to do. It's too late to do something then. You should have had a plan back when the watch was put out. So make sure you understand what a watch and a warning is. A watch is to start your plan, start planning how are you going to do something. A warning is enacting your plan. Touch base a little bit, something we'll get into this a little bit more as well on thunderstorm warnings. Here in Harlan, our nearest weather service is in Jackson. For the ones that are in Harlan, you probably know that we have 7 of the highest peaks within the state right here in Harlan County. It's a beautiful sight, but sometimes it's also a hindrance as well. Jackson Weather has asked that we treat a severe thunderstorm warning as a tornado warning because oftentimes their radar cannot see in the valley, and therefore they are concerned that we might spawn up a tornado and them not know it. So they would rather us treat severe thunderstorm warnings as tornado warnings. And so that's oftentimes why you would hear the sirens go off during a severe thunderstorm warning. Warning sirens, the sound does not always mean a tornado. What the siren is doing is alerting you that you should be going inside and seeking information. Go inside and seek shelter, tune into your NOAA weather radio, your news station, radio station, to get more information as to what is going on. The warning sirens are outdoor warning sirens. They're not intended to be heard indoors. Oftentimes, if you're close enough to one, you can hear it indoors, but that's not its intended purpose. It is to alert people that is outside to go inside and to seek more information. If you hear a warning siren going off, do not call 911 and ask why the sirens are going off. This can overload the 911 system and cause the 911 calls and responses to be slow. The warning sirens may be activated for 3-minute intervals, with the National Weather Service issued any combination of the following: a flood warning that requires evacuation, a severe thunderstorm warning with damaging winds and lightning, a tornado warning, or if a tornado has been spotted by public safety officials, in an emergency that requires mass notification and or evacuation. So our last part of the triangle is the aim of recovery is to restore the affected area to its previous state. And that's the key there. It's to its previous state before the disaster happened. It's not to make it better, just to restore it to the previous state. Recovery efforts are primary concern of action that involve rebuilding and destroyed properties, reemployment, repair. The essential infrastructure efforts should be made to build back better with a goal to reduce risk inherent to the community and infrastructure. During some incidents, emergency management opens the Emergency Operations Center, which for Harlan County, it's here at the courthouse. This is the office with records, records phone calls, emails, radio traffic, and other data related to the incident. So the emergency agencies involved are all on the same page, receiving resources that they need, and the information you're given is correct. So basically, what an emergency operations center is, it's where the heads of different agencies, fire departments, police departments, city, county governments can come together, and we can make decisions in a timely manner. And we all are on the same page, giving out the same correct information, because that's the main goal, is giving out timely, correct information to the public, getting those resources allocated to get roads open back up, whatever the instance may be. If we need other resources for other counties, as I mentioned earlier, I have been deployed to other counties, and other counties have been deployed here, either to work in the Emergency Operations Center, to help with search and rescue, to do damage assessment, different things. It just depends on what's going on. But other agencies come here, and likewise, I go to other counties. There's just not enough responders to go around. When homes or roads are damaged from flooding, wind, or other weather events, our agencies will search for options to try to get help, so these things can be fixed as quickly as possible. We may reach out to organizations such as Red Cross to get families in shelter, clothes, food, etc., as well as agencies such as FEMA, as I talked about earlier. So FEMA is not a quick fix for anything. And I know a lot of people think that is, and it's not. It's a timely process. Um, Red Cross is somebody that comes in a lot of times and helps. It's a great resource for our county. We actually partner with them to do our sheltering. They come in and open up shelters for us in the event that we need to do a mass evacuation. And during that sheltering, they take care of the families that's in there. They make sure they're fed, make sure they have security, have some place to lay their head down. If they have lost their medications, lost their glasses, they assist with these things and also getting them some clothes. But again, it's for the immediate needs of that individual. It's not a long-term recovery. It's just for that immediate need. FEMA is one of those resources that we can use to do a long-term recovery. And one of our private partnerships that we have is with Love from Harlan, a great organization. They've helped many people here in Harlan County and actually all throughout Southeast Kentucky. So, look, when you look to donate to somebody, look to see who helps in your area. And that's the people that you would want to donate to. So, what does emergency management mean to you? We want you to be planners, organizers, and evaluators for those emergencies that you have in your home. We want you to help us plan and mitigate any disasters that you have or emergencies that you may have, because the better prepared and plan that you have in place, that's going to help the emergency responders in the long run. So step one, talk to your family and make sure that your team, your household members has a team and what type of emergency you're looking at. Who does what? Somebody might make sure that everyone is out. Somebody might make sure all the doors is closed. Someone may make sure that the electricity's off. But have a plan and exercise that plan. And something I was talking to Jeremy about today is when it comes to fires or tornadoes or earthquakes, in the school systems, we rarely hear about anybody that has gotten hurt from a fire or a tornado or earthquake. Why is that? Well, it's because they practice this time and time again every school year from the time that you get in school to the time that you graduate. How many times have you practiced your evacuation plan for a fire at your home? Do you have a plan? These things are key. I think this is something that will save many lives along with having smoke alarms. It's very vital that you practice your plan, your home fire escape plan with your family members. Set that smoke alarm off, have them evacuate. Do they know where the meeting place is at? Do they know how to get out? How many times have you got up in the middle of the night and stubbed your toe just going to the refrigerator or the bathroom? You're not in a panic. Your home is not on fire. You're not looking for family members. Your lungs are not filling with smoke. You're just simply going to the refrigerator to get something to drink in the dark or going to the bathroom and you stub your toe. How do you think you're going to react if your home is on fire? That's something I want you to think about. That's something you really need to practice, is how you're going to get out in the event of an emergency. Where are you going to go and how are you going to get there? All right. So what should I do? Where is your meeting place? Pick at least 3 and talk about them. know the different types of events that you can have in your area, know these locations, and have key words for your safe words for your kids. Make sure everyone knows where these meeting places are and know the plans. This is something we should talk with our youngest kids to our oldest kids. Make sure our spouse knows. We all need to sit down and talk about this together. Where are we going to meet? And what area are we going to go to for each a different event? Because if your kids are outside and you're inside during tornado warning, do they know where they should be heading to? If there's a fire, do they know where to meet at? Sometimes you may need a map. If so, make sure that everyone knows where this map is at and where the location is at. So we're going to do a little practice. What should you do? Does your family know the correct actions to take during a tornado? So what are we going to do during a tornado? Would anybody like to tell me? Are we going to seek shelter?
Aaron says, go to the basement. Is what they do.
Go to the basement? All right, go to the basement's good.
Shed says basement. Mm-hmm.
All right. Sounds good. For a fire, we're going to get low to the ground and crawl out and go to our meeting place. What about an earthquake?
Aaron says pray.
Most definitely.
And Dustin mentioned getting under a table or in a doorway.
All right, sounds good. And then a severe thunderstorm warning. That's where we're going to seek that shelter as well. Y'all done great. So let's talk about a kit. Me and Jeremy's talked about this kit many of a time as well. Initially, FEMA said that this kit should be at least 72 hours or 3 days for you and your family. Over the last year, my opinion is this kit needs to be much bigger than that because of the different things that we have seen over the last year. But this kit doesn't have to be built overnight either. That's the biggest thing that I can stress to you is if you don't have a kit now, it doesn't mean that you have to run to your hardware store, your Walmart, wherever you may want to go to build this kit right away. And the other thing is this kit is your kit. It's specific to you. What is an emergency to you? What do you need in your kit to help you sustain you and your family to keep them safe and to maybe save your life? Those are things that you need to think about when building your kit. First aid kit may include daily medicine. And oftentimes you can talk to your pharmacy, your doctor, to let them know what you are doing, and they can give you a couple days extra to put in your kit. Maybe a spare pair of glasses, canned foods, water, so it doesn't go bad. Don't forget that can opener, a sleeping bag or blanket for each person, toilet paper and baby wipes, flashlight and batteries, pet food, cash, because what happens if the electricity is out everywhere? You can't use a debit card, so that's something that you might want to think about is cash. Change of clothes, and then whatever else that you may think of. Like I said, this kit is your kit. What do you need in your kit to help you? If you have a baby, you may need those diapers. may need bottle formula, whatever it might be. Build your kit for you, and it may change over the years, and that's fine because it's your kit. That's what you've got to remember. And just because you have a kit put aside doesn't mean that you can't use the stuff that's in that kit. You can switch it out. If something is starting to get old, you can use it and then just replace it. Same thing with the flashlight. I'm the world's worst for putting something up and then not knowing where it's at. But I know my flashlight is in my kit, and so I can use my flashlight. Just make sure that I have fresh batteries, and I always put my flashlight back. Just some neat facts of the things that you can do for alternatives. Using orange peel, grapefruit, fruit, crayons, Crisco, thinking outside the box. Maybe try to, when you're putting your kit together, putting some stuff in there that is multi-purpose. That in the event, if everything else is going bad, you got something else to fall back on. And then we ask you to always be involved. Every area that you go into in Kentucky or the United States, it doesn't really matter where you are, needs volunteers, whether it is with emergency services or with groups like Red Cross, with Love from Harlan, anywhere needs volunteers. I cannot stress that enough. Get involved and helping your area. It doesn't always work too well if you try to jump in and get involved when a disaster happens, because there's a lot of training that needs to take place prior to. So getting involved now would be a great thing. Here in Harlan County, we can always use more volunteers at our fire departments and rescue squad. So that would be great. If somebody would like to do that, I would be more than glad to give you more information on that. Then you can always volunteer with us. We're always looking for people to help us out. We're not quite as busy as some of the other organizations as far as volunteers go, but you can be a member of the Emergency Operations Center, a volunteer, to help with damage assessments, answering phone calls, tracking incidents during a disaster, attending the LEPC, which is the Local Emergency Preparedness Committee. They meet once a month, and that group helps write the emergency operations plan. I can write a plan all day long, but if I'm not getting input from other people, my plan is not whole, in my opinion. I'm looking at it one-sided. I need people involved from the fire service, EMS, from the community, all these different aspects. The more people I have involved giving input, the better off my plan is going to be. It's going to be more cohesive. And then also there is the hazardous materials response team here in Harlan County as well. All things that you could join. Here's where you can get some more information. Of course, Facebook, you can like our page. I'd be more than glad to have you like that. Ready.gov. If you are in Harlan, Kentucky, you can register for Code Red to receive weather warnings. And then also, we also have that capability of if there is a other emergency that we can call your cell phone or your home phone and notify you of that as well. And that is only done in the event of an emergency. There is no solicited calls or anything to that nature. It's a complete an emergency line. If we are calling using this number, you know that there is something that you need to do to take emergency action. Then there's KYEM.gov. That's the Kentucky Emergency Management Agency. When we have our next Weather Spotters class, you can have that. We hope to have that next year. and then attend emergency management training such as damage assessment to be a community partner. And we ask you to spread the word, be prepared, and get involved. That way, everyone is safe. That is our goal. We don't want to see anybody hurt, lose their home, or unfortunately lose their life. So the more that we can spread about people being prepared, the better off we will be. And then I will take any questions.
Hey, David, before we start into the questions, I tell you what, if you want to, I'll throw that poll up there. How's that? That work for you?
Sounds good.
That way we've got some questions for you all. And I think it's basically less than 10 questions, but I'm going to go ahead and launch the first one. So when y'all see that come up, you can answer that if you will. So it should come up to be able to answer that. Okay, give it a few more seconds. All right, I'm going to end that and share the results. So majority of you that answered said that you do have a plan, and if you don't have a plan, that ready.gov is a good location. It's got a really good information on how to put a plan together. You can get in touch with if me, Shad, Phil, David, those that have the plan, spread the word, that sort of thing. So let's check out the second one here. Here's one. Do you have a disaster prep kit? Give it a few more seconds. Okay.
That's awesome.
Good stuff there, definitely. And the kits, like David said, are pretty much to you. My kit is not going to look like your kit. Your kit's not going to look like my kit. For instance, I have a 2-year-old, and so a little over 2 years ago, my kit changed. Because there was an addition, and then it had to change too because she went from formula to not having formula, that sort of thing. So it's going to definitely change. Let's go with the next one. This one's a little bit different here. So do you have an earthquake escape plan? And do you practice that with your family? So it gives you a couple options there. Give it a few more seconds here. Good stuff. Good stuff there. And the thing is that one of the things we wanted to do this is not to say, you need to do this or you need to do that, but make you think about it. And David and I have talked a lot over the last few years, last several years, especially the last year, even I guess you could say a lot since March, on what we need to do personally. And so, talk to others. There's a lot of information out there, online that they can give you some information too. So There's a share. I don't know if I'd shared that a second ago. So there's a share. And go to the next one. Launch poll. There we go. Give you a few seconds there. And Shad and Phil, you all may not be able to answer these. I know I can't answer them, and David can't answer them because I don't think the host and co-host can. So.
No, but I did have a question about the earthquake one. I've read the ready.gov and the FEMA material that they've got, and I have not seen an earthquake plan listed there other than telling you some things to be on the alert for, but not really a plan. And our disaster kit, I keep it in the basement, and I live in a brick house. And y'all have made me think that maybe I don't need to have my disaster kit where it might get buried. So just something to think about.
Yeah, and that's good stuff as well. You know, your kit needs to be portable, where you can take it different parts of the house. Like I said, when you put this plan together, who is getting that kit? Is it going to be where you're going? And that's fine if it is. But if not, who is getting the kit? Is the kit able to be moved? Or maybe you have a kit in your car and a kit that you keep in your home. I know me and Jeremy both have kits in our vehicles. And I mean, I actually have a kit that is specific to me and my job. That when I rotate on call weekends, and so I have a kit for that. That if I'm out at the grocery store, I've got stuff that I need to be able to leave the grocery store and do my job right away. I've got shirt, flashlight, whatever I might need to change into in a moment's notice to be able to do my job. So even something like that, you can have a kit to make you better prepared.
What do you do in regards to your auto? I've got one in my truck as well, but what do you do for your food and water in a vehicle that might hit 120 on a hot day?
You change it out regularly is what I do. I use a lot of protein bars is what I usually keep in there, but usually about once a week, which I like protein bars and I work out some. So that's basically what I do is I try to rotate them out at least once a week.
Good questions. Let me launch this one more poll here, and then we can go into some more question and answers. Give it a few more seconds. All right, we'll stop that, share the results there so you can get an idea there. So, Aaron asked a question: what is the best plan for when you're driving and there's no overpass to stay under when there is a tornado warning?
Okay, so that's a good question. So if you are driving and a tornado warning comes on the radio, one, hopefully you already are aware that there's a watch. And so during that watch, we should be planning what is some things that we could do. Where are we at? Is there a location that I can go into or what? One of the biggest thing is you don't want to go under an underpass. You don't want to go in anything that is under a bridge. You don't want to go under a tile, anything to that nature. If you're unable to get in a shelter, the best thing you can do, and I know this sounds crazy and your mind is saying no, but the best thing you could do would be to lay down in a ditch and cover your head. Do not get under an underpass or a bridge or anything to that nature, because it can actually act as a vacuum and cause you more harm or death than help.
Good information.
That's not what you see in the movies, is what the problem is. Everybody's seen the movies where they hide under the highway overpass.
Yep, you're correct.
I'll jump back up to the top here on our chat comment. Woody said he took a weather spotter class virtually through the Jackson National Weather Service office back in the spring. I think it's late spring. Was that correct, Woody? Late spring, early summer, something like that. So Harlan and Letcher County, he says yes. Harlan and Letcher County are served under the Jackson Weather Office, and Wise and Norton area is actually served under Morristown. Is that correct, Phil?
Yes, it's Morristown.
So you may want to check with those places to see if they're holding anything coming up. Usually they typically do those in the spring, correct, David?
Yes.
Okay. Also, Jaquita, she had mentioned a family member here of hers currently in process of CERT training, which is Citizen Emergency Response Team. And so that's a good training, a very good training. And you haven't lived unless you've taken that training in, what was that, 48 hours?
Yeah.
Or 40 hours, whatever it was, straight. So
it was 40 hours, I believe.
40 hours, yeah. 4 days, 4 long, grueling days. But very good information there. CERT's very good. If you get a chance to do that, that's wonderful. Phil, I know you've had some CERT stuff that you've done through the office as well.
Well, we just did kind of an introduction to CERT. We didn't do any of the formal trainings. We had somebody just kind of cover what was involved. But yeah, it looked very useful.
Good stuff. Yeah, definitely. David and I had the opportunity to train 15 students at Harlan County High School between October and I guess it ended up in May to get them CERT trained. And that was a good one. So if you ever have the ability to do that, it's really good. David, I know you and I talked about earlier this morning, we talked about kits, and you mentioned something about you wanted to see what they might have unique in their kit. Is that correct? Is that how you put that?
Yes. What is their unique object or tool that they may have in their kit, or something that you thought of tonight even? If you all would share it, that'd be great, because you might make somebody else think, hey, I might need that.
If you will, just type that in the chat. I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw mine in there. Mine's a portable shower.
Priorities.
Well, it's one of those things. I was without water for 5 days, but I had snow to melt. So Jaquita says, I have something that I'm certain nobody else has one like it. Phil says his wife made him get rid of the ninja throwing stars. Phil, have you been hacked? And Shad's got magnesium wool for fire. Awesome. Good stuff there. Awesome. Anybody else? You know, and I think it changes you. I know extra shoes, Dustin mentioned. Definitely. I know when we were without water here for 5 days, it was different. It was, and so it made me think that, hey, I need to stock water up, and
you need to open that well up at your house is what you need to do.
Well, that well scares me to death. So I'm not sure what's at the bottom of that well.
All that script that they got rid of.
It may be. Jaquita mentions her dad made a set of jumper cables when I got my driver's license at 16-year-old. They're made from mining cable, and I can hardly lift them. Thought they have helped many people, though they may help many people over the 30 years that I have carried them. Those are wonderful. Yeah, I knew somebody that had a set of those things one time. You can't carry them. They weigh like a ton and a half, but they work great. You're not going to wear those out.
That's awesome.
That's cool stuff. Anything else? Anybody got any comments, questions, or whatever? Anybody got any questions so far before we wrap up?
Just going to comment that backup light is really important. And we kind of went from the regular old bulbs to the LEDs because you get such a much longer burn time on the batteries. So something to think about.
Definitely, yeah.
One thing I'll mention, though, Shad was asking about carrying water and things in the car when it gets so hot. And I had bought a 2-gallon insulated water cooler once, and I tried to carry water in that in my truck, but no matter how much I sealed it, it would splash out. And I finally figured out I could put bottled water down in that insulated cooler, and it would hold maybe 8 bottles of water, and that way it doesn't splash out, and it's still insulated against the heat and the cold. So that worked out pretty well.
That's good.
Also, Jaquita mentioned that her husband says must-haves include fishing gear, hunting necessities such as guns and ammos, knives, and fire starters. There you go. There you go.
Right around the corner, got to be prepared.
One of the things with their MyPI CERT training that we did with the students at HC this past year was each one of them had to train their family and also 6 other families and have them prepared. And so basically you're looking at 15 times 7 families that were prepared. And so they had to send in photos to make sure that, you know, that they were prepared. And one student brought a photo of a family that was prepared, and the lady was standing there with a shotgun in her hand. So she was definitely prepared, kind of like Chiquita had mentioned there.
Jeremy, I was going to throw out too that we assume that our evacuation is going to take place in the warm weather months, but having a blanket or something warm in there can be really important.
Yes, sir.
Especially if you break down, you know, you've got a little 2-year-old. If you break down on the side of the road in cold weather, you need to have something to keep everybody warm.
Exactly, and so that therefore it shows that it changes seasonally. That you should change it seasonally.
Right.
Yeah, good information, Shad. Dustin says backups to your backup.
Absolutely.
That means
Jeremy,
you've got
in my case, I have to keep a blanket in the truck all year around because my girlfriend gets cold. Elizabeth gets cold. She's a freezer death. So I got a blanket in there year round.
And I was going to say that you need an ankle holster for that 12 gauge. You know, you got to have a backup to the 12 gauge.
Jaquita mentioned water rescue training would be a good idea to be prepared for as an essential set of skills in a family. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Good stuff here tonight. This, you know, we want to get you thinking. September, we failed to mention it when we got started. September is National Preparedness Month. And so basically the first 3 weeks, which is the first six sessions are going to be dealing with preparedness. So, you know, so we're going to cover 5 more things, but basically you got to start out with a plan and on anything. And I guess, David, you get to size up your situation. So, and constantly sizing up that situation. But any other questions, comments? Phil, I know on Thursday we have Summer, is it?
Yes.
And so you want to talk a little bit about maybe what she's got going on?
Yeah, she's going to go into detail on specific weather disasters. Summer works with the Wise County GIS and also works directly with the Wise County Emergency Operations Center. So she's going to talk about specific preparations for different weather disasters that we may encounter in this part of the world.
Good deal. Woody had a question here. How can I verify the 911 address of his garden. I presume he needs to get a hold of Rhonda.
Yes, just call the office, 573-6082. 8 to 4.
All right, good deal. David, thank you very much. Good information tonight.
Thank you. That's great.
Yes.
I know you'll definitely be, I presume you'll be back with us on next Tuesday. You're not covering EMT, but somebody's covering EMT. So, and so we've got five more great preparation sessions lined up for you all. And thank you all for tuning in tonight, and appreciate David taking time out of his schedule to make things happen here tonight.
Thank you all for having me, and I hope to be back for all your sessions.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you, Dave.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Phil, Shad, anything else?
Thursday.
Thursday.
I guess we've already hit on it a little bit. That's our weather trip.
I think gentlemen, I think it might be good if we see what y'all think about this, but maybe, kind of keep track of the folks who are tuning in. And at the end of this, we'll kind of put y'all on the spot and think about how you can become better prepared. And then maybe we can poll them at the end of this and just see what steps they've taken to become better prepared.
Sounds good. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
I like that. Sounds good. It works. Good deal. Well,
Merle, check your email.
well, sounds good. Good deal. Anything else? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I guess we'll sign off for tonight, and we'll see everybody on Thursday then. Hey, get the information out and what's going on, and invite more people. And we'll see y'all Thursday then. Everybody have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.